This is Co-op HD1 HD3 Hornsby, radio for people, not for profit. Welcome to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Each week, we explore how your library is more than books. The library is knowledge, technology, and inspiration for our community. Hello and welcome. I'm your host today, Kanya Lyons, and we have some fantastic guests in the studio with us. Today, I'd like to welcome Emma Kypuros, a program leader from Latinitas, and Monica Lozano, a youth librarian from the Ruiz Branch Library. And today we're going to talk about a teen program called Express Yourself Through Media and Technology, which is a partnership between the Austin Public Library and Latinitas. So welcome, ladies.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Happy to be here.
Fantastic. Well, I guess to kind of lay a little groundwork before we start talking about this specific program that we're doing at the library, can you tell me, Emma, a little bit about Latinitas and its mission?
Yeah, sure. So Latinitas is a nonprofit organization based in El Paso and Austin. We've been around for 15 years, and our overall mission is to empower all girls to innovate through tech and media. And that goes as far as helping them express themselves through tech and media, as well as just getting to know general technology.
Fantastic. That is a great goal. I'm all about it. So let's talk a little bit about the specific goals of the Express Yourself program, which sounds like it's almost very similar, but what is unique about this program, or what exactly is the program focusing on? Either one of y'all or both.
Well, Express Yourself is an 8-week sort of series that we're doing in conjunction with the Austin Public Libraries, and it's open to all participants. And what we're doing is we're exploring media and technology as storytelling tools. So through the use of photography, art, virtual reality, we're basically encouraging all participants to tell a story, get involved in a cultural narrative, and learn from each other.
Oh, that's fantastic. So exciting. And what is the age range that the program is targeting again?
It's recommended for ages 8 and up, so cool. 8 to 99.
Oh, right, because it's a family program. So adults, like caregivers, parents, family, sisters, whoever, they're invited to join in the fun. Fantastic. Well, so what kinds of things are children and teens learning by expressing themselves creatively through technology? Like, what are some of the goals of the program?
I think the biggest thing at Ruiz is kind of to give exposure, especially to the youth in the community, to an iPad, to the different software that they find on an iPad. And just the ability to learn, like, what is art? Is it just a thing that's on the wall, or is it something that you can create on an iPad or on a computer? But also going beyond, like, the basic skills of just using it and putting in that aspect of, like, culture and bringing back the, how does that affect me, and how can I do things with this technology that also expresses myself, like, thus the name, Express Yourself. I love it. Do you have any more thing to say about that?
No, I thought that was a really good description.
Well, and one of the things before we got on the air, we were kind of talking about how some of these kids, like, this might be the first time that they're being exposed to this technology and having firsthand interactions with it. So that's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, it's really neat to kind of see how, just putting an iPad in front of a youth and how fast they can, like, learn how to open the apps, where sometimes I'm like, where is this? I don't remember how to, like, do this thing. But I think also even how similar a cell phone can look like an iPad, but how you can do things in a different way with an iPad. Even just, like, I learned this from them. I didn't realize Snapchat was on an iPad. I was like, okay, cool. And so they have Snapchat on their phones, but then we're looking at this iPad, downloaded Snapchat, or it was already on. I'm not 100%. And just we're using kind of the things that they learned, or the whatever they created in that particular workshop, to kind of show their friends on their Snapchat and be like, hey, I'm at the library, but I'm also using Snapchat on this really cool iPad.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's sweet. So for those listeners who are just joining us, this is Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show on Co-op 91.7 FM and streaming at koop.org. And we're talking today with Emma Kypuros and Monica Lozano about technology programs that encouraged artistic expression for youth at the Austin Public Library. And I didn't realize this program is not only happening at the Ruiz Branch, but y'all were telling me that it's going to start up in February at the St. John branch of the library. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so whether you live north or south, it sounds like there's some options available. Let's talk about, so the workshop isn't just about expressing personal identity, but it's also about kind of identifying issues within our community. And so you guys were telling me a little bit about not just exposing the kids to new technology, but sort of some of the cultural components and some of the conversations that come up. Can we talk a little bit about the storytelling and the cultural stuff that's covered in the program?
So one of the big things that we try to do throughout anything we do with Latinitas is to encourage participants, the chicas, the families, to explore cultural narratives. So for me personally, this is what I can speak to. I am half Mexican and half white, and I didn't really grow up in a super Latino family, so I didn't grow up with the same traditions that a lot of my other Spanish-speaking friends did. And so for me, as I've grown up, it's been a really awesome opportunity to learn more about my family who does live in Mexico, to hear stories from my grandmother about what it was like when she was growing up, and to sort of learn who I am as a Latina, because sometimes you can feel like you're not Latina enough, or you're too Latina. And when you're living in a community that doesn't necessarily have a super concentrated resource like Latinitas, it can be really hard to figure that out. And so what we're doing with Express Yourself is people are getting opportunities to talk to their family members, talk to people in their community who might not have the same background story as they do. And so they're sort of learning about the multifaceted culture that they're a part of.
So well said. Thank you. Yeah, that's really important. Well, and one of the things I didn't realize also was that this is not the only Latinitas and Austin Public Library partnership. Y'all do another program series, or a couple of different things are coming up. Can you talk a little bit about that for me?
Yeah, so we started up, I think November was our first one, with a Tech Thursdays. So it's the first Thursday of the month, and we have someone coming out from Latinitas who runs a workshop that's very similar to Express Yourself, but it's more focused on the youth in the community and kind of doing those activities. And that kind of started with a program that I had kind of thought up of doing a Tech Tuesdays or a Tech Thursdays to give exposure to the youth in the community to different types of technology. And after having a couple conversations with Sylvia and Latinitas and talking about what that would look like, we kind of had them come on board and start running those Tech Thursdays. And we've had a pretty good turnout. It's interesting because I've had conversations about how Latinitas is, thus the name is kind of tailored mostly towards girls in the community. And at our workshops on Tech Thursdays, it's usually a majority of the boys in the community and, one or two girls. And so it's been interesting to kind of see those dynamics and see how, the technology can be kind of expressed across gender, and how things are interpreted in that way. And then we're also doing a week-long program in June, and the dates are slipping my mind. That's a Tech Chicos camp that's also going to be run by Latinitas as well.
And this is all at the Ruiz Branch.
This is all at the Ruiz Branch, but there's still that partnership at St. John. That's at so basically the difference between the Express Yourself at St. John and the Express Yourself at Ruiz is that the St. John one is 8 weeks back to back, and the one at Ruiz is we've spread it between the first basically there's a couple weeks in between, so it's the first Saturday and the last Saturday of the month or something similar to that.
And all the details are on our website, the library's website.
Yeah.
In case people forget, but yeah.
So that's kind of just the difference. We spread it out over a longer amount of time, but the workshops are fairly similar. And so we're really lucky at Ruiz where you get Latinitas 3 times a month and then that week-long camp in June as well. So we're super excited about this partnership, and it's been fun to kind of have this collaboration and see the youth and just even the conversations that they're having with this exposure.
Absolutely. I'm sure it's neat to see these kids get inspired, I guess, by the technology and just kind of interacting with each other and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, we're just about, we've got just a second before we're going to go into the next segment. So is there anything else? Let's see. We wanted to say about that. I guess we'll get into a little bit more here in a little bit. I want to know more about some of the kids that are coming in and using this technology and the things they're learning. But for the moment, we are going to listen to some announcements. Some of our favorite librarians are going to tell us about events that are happening at the library for adults and teens. And then I'm going to tell y'all about children because Ann Minner has the flu apparently. So stay tuned. And then there'll be some co-op announcements after that. And then we'll get right back into this conversation about Tech Chicos and volumes and the Latinitas partnership with the Austin Public Library. Thank you.
My name is Blair Parsons and I'm a librarian at the Central Library. Each week I highlight a selection of programs for adults that are happening around the Austin Public Library. Our full list of programs may be found on the library's events calendar. The 2018 Mayor's Book Club is titled Exit and Flight, Narratives of the Refugee Experience, and features 3 books: Osama Alamar's The Teeth of the Comb and Other Stories, Wendy Perlman's We Crossed a Bridge and It Trembled, Voices from Syria, and Mohsin Hamid's Exit West. Thursday evening, January 25th, the Central Library will host Osama Alamar and Wendy Perlman for a reading and discussion on Syria, art, and what unites humanity. Mohsin Hamid will be at the Central Library April 11th. The January 25th event with Osama Alamar and Wendy Perlman begins at 6:30 at the Central Library.
Hey there, Austin. Teen Program Specialist Michael Harley from the Downtown Central Library here. One of the most special things about the Teen Room at the new Central Library is that it marks the first time that the Austin Public Library has a space exclusively for teens, ages 13 to 18. Our teen area is equipped with all kinds of special features, including high-powered Mac computers, Alienware PCs with tons of titles installed and ready to play, an interactive touch table, and a board game collection with 60 titles to choose from. Rounded off with comfy chairs and, of course, lots and lots of books. And you have a great space to hang out, study, relax, and read. The new Central Library's teen area is open to teens ages 13 to 18, 7 days a week. Information on our open hours, as well as more details on programming exclusively for teens, can be found at library.austintexas.gov/events.
Hey, this is Kanya Lyons, and I'm going to tell you about some of the programs the library is offering for children at libraries throughout town this week. So one of the programs I want to highlight is Yoga Storytime. That's right. Yoga and Storytime all in one. It's Thursday, January 25th at 10:15 a.m. at the Ruiz Branch of the Austin Public Library. Then on Friday, January 26th, Books and Babies is taking place at the Old Quarry Branch. Bring in those, babies 0 to 18 months are welcome to come. And of course, they're going to need their parents to join them. This is a great way for babies to be exposed to songs, rhymes, finger play, get them ready for literacy. And again, that's 2 p.m. Friday, January 26th at the Old Quarry Branch. And then on Saturday, January 27th from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., Bow Wow Reading with Bonnie the Dog happens at the Yarborough Branch. And this is open to children of all reading levels. And the idea is that they're going to improve their reading skills by reading to a dog because, dogs are not intimidating. They just look at you and listen and love you no matter what. So Bow Wow Reading with Bonnie the Dog is Saturday, January 27th at 11:30 a.m. at the Yarborough Branch. Sunday, January 28th, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., there is International Lego Day with Playwell Technologies. This is happening at the Central Library, which is at Cesar Chavez and West Avenue, downtown Austin. And there are going to be Legos everywhere and kids everywhere. And this is going to be a big event in the third floor Creative Commons. Again, that's Sunday, January 28th, 1 to 4 at the Central Library. And the second to last program I'm going to highlight for today is Pajama Story Time. So this is for working parents, who can't take their kids to the story time that happens in the mornings. This one is at 6 p.m., Monday, January 29th at the University Hills branch. Pajama Story Time is recommended for children 5 and under. And it is a great opportunity to have those kids listen to stories and get ready for literacy. The very last program we're going to highlight is a dual language Spanish-English story time that happens at the Terrazas branch, Tuesday, January 30th at 10:30 in the morning. And it's a great way for kids who speak Spanish to learn a little English, or kids who speak English to learn a little Spanish. There are rhymes, songs, books. It's a lot of fun. So that's Tuesday, January 30th, 10:30 a.m. at the Terrazas branch. Thanks a lot.
The Texas Talking Book Program provides digital audio, large print, and braille books and magazines to Texans who cannot read standard print due to qualifying visual, physical, or reading disabilities. Reader advisors are on hand to help navigate patrons through thousands of titles available for download to our free digital audio player. To see if you qualify or for more information, visit www.texastalkingbooks.org.
You're listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show on Co-op 91.7 FM and KOOP.org. Radio for people, not for profit.
This is Joe,
Martha,
And Lisa,
co-hosts of Writing on the Air.
do you like to read?
do you like to write?
We do too, and we love bringing you the best authors and other creative types from Texas and beyond.
Listen to Writing on the Air every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time.
Voted Best Book Discussion in the Austin Chronicle's 2015 Best of Austin.
Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m.
on 91.7 FM.
Or KOOP.org.
Hey there, listeners. Welcome back to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show on Co-op 91.7 FM and streaming at koop.org. So we're going to get right back into our conversation with Emma Kypuros and Monica Lozano, and we're talking about Latinitas and the Austin Public Library. There are a number of partnerships that we have going on. We're talking mainly about Express Yourself, which just started. It's had one program. And coming up, we're going to have a program, I guess, this Saturday, January 27th from 1 to 2:30 at the Ruiz Branch. Can one of y'all tell me a little bit about what is going to be happening on Saturday at the Express Yourself? I think that it says that it is art.
Yeah, art will be the subject line. Unfortunately, what the actual lesson is slipping my mind right now.
Oh, no worries.
But it's going to center around the same sort of themes that all of the other workshops do. And basically what we're doing is we're finding different avenues through different types of technology to do the same thing. Because Latinitas was originally started as a magazine. It started as a student org at UT back in 2002, I want to say, because we celebrated our quince last year.
Awesome.
And so it started as a student org by our founders, Laura and Alicia, because they were sort of upset with the way they saw Latina girls represented in tech and media, not only in how they're portrayed by characters or people, but also sort of their representation in the demographic of Latina girls who are in STEM and other stuff like that. And so at the core of everything we're doing is this theme of storytelling, whether it be through journalism or blogging. And because it was started 15 years ago, like, times are changing. And so now you can storytell through Snapchat, and you can storytell using iMovie, and you can do all sorts of different things like digital scrapbooking. And basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to give kids, families, girls exposure to these technologies, to sort of dispel the myth that, like, STEM is just for people who like science and math, or like coding is like really scary type stuff. But it's not.
You're right. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the reason I found code scary was because I'd never taken a coding class, but like you sit in the class and you learn how to do it, and it's not that complicated. That being said, I'm not like a great coder or anything, but if I had wanted to put in the time, I imagine it would not be that bad. So that's really what we're doing.
So it's like demystifying not only technology, but art and the creative process.
Yeah.
A little bit for these younger folks. And we were saying before the age range is 8 and up.
8 and up.
Okay.
And it's open to the entire family. So I think that's the biggest thing about the Express Yourself workshops that I really liked about this collaboration is like a mom can come in with her 3 kids or like a dad or, whoever the caregiver is, and really kind of having that partnership with not just exposing the youth to this technology, but the entire family to learn, the storytelling, to talk about things like one of the Tech Thursdays, I think we talked about this earlier, where talking about culture, like everyone in the room was talking about food and how like we've all had pozole before, but we all learned that like it can be different depending on like what part of Mexico pozole actually came from or your family came from. And so kind of having those conversations with the whole family is what really kind of we're stressing about the Express Yourself workshop.
Yeah. And I imagine it's really awesome, when you do have adults, because kids will pick up, this new technology and these new skills so much more rapidly. And then they get that chance to sort of show the adult, well, let me show you.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Can you talk a little bit about some of the, just some of the kinds of, some of the reactions that you've gotten from kids, like when they've been exposed to technology for the first time, or just some of the, just any little stories that either one of y'all has. If not, it's fine. But I guess I just wonder, like, wow, what is it like to see an iPad for the first time, or to like, make a movie for the first time, or things like that, But
I mean, some of these kids don't necessarily have iPads or laptops, or their parents might not have a cell phone at home. And so the only sort of exposure they get to this is at their schools or at the library at these sort of workshops. And so I think when we give them the opportunity to sort of explore an iPad's use further than Snapchat, and like to use the camera to learn how to edit photos, to learn how to edit videos, and put things together in sort of a cohesive fashion, I think that's really exciting. But speaking of reactions, we did a series called Latinitas React, and it was utilizing like video technology, and we basically sat some of our girls down and had them react to these beauty ads that Dev did. And so...
Oh.
Yeah.
I know the ones you're talking about.
Yeah. And the girls really, really loved that, and being on camera is just as important as them getting to be behind the camera. And so through Express Yourself and through all of our sort of like collaborations, we're trying to, give them exposure, but empower them to be able to use technology in whichever way they can, especially considering that not all of them are going to have it going forward.
And I think that also kind of with the idea of even like creating Tech Thursdays was giving exposure to the youth to know that, okay, I may learn how to like code, for example, and I may not like it, but I can put that on a resume later and I can say like, I know how to do this, or maybe I didn't like it in this way, but I learned a different way through Latinitas or through this workshop at the library, how to do this thing that may have not been like that much fun, like we were talking about earlier, and now I can do it and I enjoy it. And I think that's the part too, is just kind of learning new ways to do things. And, like you said, like editing. And I think some of the stuff is just kind of taking that basic skill. Like I had a youth say, I've seen an iPad before, but I've never touched it. I've never played with it. And even just kind of seeing like, oh, it's just like a smartphone is what they said. And so that was kind of cool. But yeah, it's just, I think the biggest thing is just seeing that like it's beyond just like this thing where I can like watch YouTube videos. Like I could create my own YouTube video and I can post this video on YouTube and people can see it.
And that's empowering.
Oh yeah.
For anybody, especially for a kid, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And this speaks to the larger sort of the library's mission of one of the many things that we're doing at the library, but trying to help communities cross that digital divide. And not everyone is even aware that there is a digital divide, but as it has come up multiple times in our conversation, some people don't have access to technology at home, or maybe they just have like a really old desktop computer, but they don't have other types of technology. So that's really a valuable resource that to provide to the community.
Well, and I think even just having those conversations with like, I don't have the internet at home. Like, how do we talk about that? But how do we also say like, well, we have these resources at the library, and how can we use them, and what does this look like? And because I think oftentimes we don't think about not everyone has the internet at home. Not everyone has a computer in their house and can go on a website and look at these things or look at YouTube videos. And, but having those conversations in a way that like, that's okay. But, look at this really cool workshop and look at these things that you can do and kind of learn to do that. And I mean, to be honest, I don't have the internet at home. And that kind of surprises people because I work at the library. But,
But the library has the internet.
It does.
And the Wi-Fi. And yeah, exactly. That's really cool. The library is such a great resource. Well, so let's maybe give people like a preview of kind of some of the upcoming programs, the Express Yourself Through Media and Technology programs that are happening at the Ruiz Branch.
Yeah, okay. So the first Saturday of January, I'm just going to backtrack a little bit. We did filmmaking, and then this coming Saturday, we're doing art. And then through February, you have photography and culture. So they're kind of just larger themes that we're working with. Mm-hmm. Then we have virtual reality and music in March, and then entrepreneurship and activism in April.
I want to take these classes. They sound
right?
awesome.
They sound so cool.
I'm going to drag my 13-year-old there.
It's a family event.
I see that. I'm excited. Cool. And so people, do they need to bring any supplies with them, or do they need to come prepared anywhere? Do they just need to show up?
No, we supply everything, and then you just show up. Bring your family.
Yeah, it's just open to the public, and
yes,
anyone can walk in and join in. That's cool. And is it usually about an hour long, or how?
It's about an hour and a half. So I think at the Ruiz Branch, it's 1 to 2:30 on the Saturdays.
Perfect. Yeah. And all the details are on our website. So we're getting just about to the end. Was there anything that we didn't cover that we want to share about our upcoming program, or anything else, or we think we said it all? So the details about this and all library programs are online at library.austintexas.gov. And I just want to thank you guys so much for coming down and sharing all this great information about these programs. I think it's really great what y'all are doing with the community and with the kids. It's very inspiring. So I just wanted to also mention that we want to give a special shout out to our hardworking volunteer, Federico Pacheco, who helps keep us on time and keeps everything running on track, and our intern, Dana Williams, who's also been strategic in helping get things prepared today on this script and everything. And stay tuned to 91.7 FM and koop.org for Rock and Roll Pest Control. Details about Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, are at library.austintexas.gov/volumes. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Special thanks to our producer, DJ Harris, and to the musicians who composed and performed our original theme song: Andrew Noble on violin, Kirk Duvall on guitar, and Mike Wheat on percussion. And thanks to you, our listeners. Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, airs Wednesday afternoons at 2:30 on Co-op 91.7 FM and koop.org. If you catch us mid-show, full episodes and other details can be found at library.austintexas.gov/volumes.